Hello, my name is Matthew Marvin. I also go by ThePokerGypsy. Alright, so today I'm going to be introducing a strategy to you that's going to help your pre-flop play. All these old pre-flop charts and numbers, throw them out the window. They're now outdated. So I was converting over from No Limit Hold'em to Omaha, and I was having some difficulties, specifically when it came to pre-flop play. So I got some advice from Jonathan Little, who's a poker pro, which you may all know. And basically at the end of our conversation, what I got from it, he said, Matt, stop overthinking it. Just select the hands that give you good board coverage. Me having the mind that I have, I had to take it a step further. Okay, how do I measure that? If one was to measure board coverage, how would I do it? And through that thought process, I came up with this strategy. So shout out to Jonathan Little. I would not have been able to create the strategy without your advice. All right, so when you play spades, before you start the hand, we're going to call it pre-flop, you're supposed to count how many books or how many points you can get. So I decided to convert that over to poker. It's a point system for measuring your pre-flop hand strength of board coverage. In No Limit Hold'em, the average winning hand is 2 pair. In Omaha, you better have the top set of nuts. So when you break it down, you would measure board coverage by gaps, how many gaps the cards have in between them. If your starting hand has no gaps or one card gap between it, then it's considered a point. If there's 2 gaps, then it's half a point. If those cards are suited, then you add another half point. Anything with a gap of 3 or more cards is nothing. Alright guys, so if it's 3 or more gaps, no points. The exception to the rule is anytime you have either an ace or a king that's suited, we're going to add a half a point. We do this because remember, that's the top flushes. So Omaha, that's going to be very important. Even No Limit, that's very important. Because most of the times if you have a lower flush, you're usually behind. So I'm not a big fan of chasing flushes without an ace or a king draw. In No Limit, we should need a starting hand with at least 1 point value to play the hand with, unless you're on the small blind. That's where you can use the half point hands. However, in Omaha, since you're dealt double the cards, you should need twice the points. So you should need at least a hand with 2 points to start the hand. Now, what I'm also going to recommend to you is that when you don't have aces or kings, you set a unit value, which is a max you're willing to play a hand for pre-flop. Because now keep in mind, in No Limit, you're going to miss the flop 60% of the time. So it's very important not to invest too much pre-flop before the cards come. In Omaha, you never know what's going to happen. But set a limit of units you're willing to risk pre-flop. Let's say mine's 10 big blind. With this point system and that limit, you can now gauge on how much you should be investing pre-flop. The higher the points, the more chips you should be willing to invest. Listen, I know this is a lot to cover in a short amount of time. I know everybody's not going to get it, but you can replay this video as much as you want until you get it.